Let me start recording. Okay. So, hey guys, welcome back to our Philip Trading Podcast. And your host for today. My name is Casey, and I am a dealer here at Philip Capital. So now, before we start, please take note that this presentation has not been reviewed by the Securities Commission Malaysia and is for general educational purpose only. It is not an invitation to buy or sell any investment products. Hence, the speaker and PCSB are not liable for any financial decisions you may make based on the contents of these presentations. So, with us today is an extremely experienced speaker, David. How are you today, David?
I'm good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Casey.
Yeah, so now before we start, let me just bring you through a quick introduction to our esteemed speaker today. David Ng is currently a full-time proprietary trader with Iceberg Sdn Berhad, a local proprietary trading firm based in KL. He has done extensive research and is well versed with the commodities and index market. He currently trades Malaysia Index and CPO, which is Crude Palm Oil Futures market. Currently, he holds an CMT designation as a Chartered Market Technician. So previously, he led a young and dynamic team with a prominent local broker to promote futures and derivative instruments to the Malaysian public. It also conducts regular public seminar and webinar on topics relating to futures trading and has aided individuals in starting their trading journey. So in addition, he also provides frequent market commentaries to local media like The Star, Business Times, and The Age in that role. So what an interesting speaker we have with us today. Well, I won't hold too much of your time. Let's get straight into the content. On to you, David.
Okay, sure. Yeah, thank you. So I'm just gonna try to share my screen. So I have just a couple of slides prepared. Um, just let me know if you can see my slides.
Okay, yeah, Ken.
Okay, yeah. So thank you, Casey, for the very kind introduction, and obviously thank you, Philip, for inviting me to speak on next week webinar on the 28th of October. So today I'm just going to give you roughly what I'm going to share about, what we're going to talk about mainly in the next week's session. And I think markets are getting very volatile. Not only despite you're seeing markets all-time high in a lot of major external markets. Why the exceptional case is why Malaysia has not reached those levels yet, especially in this context, the Malaysian market. So in the webinar, I think probably we're going to talk mainly on the FKLI futures context. How can we as a trader navigate those, especially during this time with Trump and China-US trade war coming into the picture? There'll be a lot of volatility that we expect, and how can a trader navigate during this I would say these volatile periods. I just want to briefly show you where we are. Year to date, given that that Malaysia, at the start of first and second quarter was actually, in terms of market performance, was actually quite lacking. But I think in the third quarter, especially last 2 months, we see that the index actually did try to breach above the 1,006 mark and hold it above those levels. Now, a lot of there's a lot of factors that actually drive those forces that support the movement of the index. I think mainly also because external market, especially like US market, Europe market, even China, or to some extent even in the Nikkei market has actually reached all-time high levels. Now, even in our region, the Southeast Asia region, we've seen certain markets like Vietnam and even Singapore, those markets are actually doing pretty well. So with all this external environment, it actually does support the Malaysia market to a certain extent, and is making it holding well above the 1,006 mark. So technically speaking, and also both fundamentally speaking, we'll be uncovering some of these aspects and factors that could we still see that this kind of support towards the year end for 2025? Now, as we discuss, as we were going to discuss in next in a webinar session, there's a lot of factors to really look at when you look at KLCI performance, especially in the Malaysian market context. So obviously, if the markets are performing well, if the fundamental of the economies are doing well, generally you should expect the KLCI performance should do very well. Now, in terms of GDP performance, it was a quite strong, robust, positive number for the third quarter. That's why I think in the last couple of trading sessions, we've seen actually market rallied to a certain extent. Now I think that also helped in a way to in a way support performance for the Malaysia market. So, I think GDP performance is going to be something that you're going to watch out closely, and how we're going to end 2025 GDP numbers. Now, 2026 obviously is going to be something of a different outlook that's going to be seeing. We all this ongoing US tariff that's hitting all countries around the world. Definitely, we're going to see the impact quite prominently into 2026. So I think that's something for us to watch out, and I'll be speaking more on those uh, issues and factors that's going to affect the market into 2026. Now, you probably are aware oil prices right now, despite we're seeing strong or even all-time high for gold prices, but oil is on the other hand showing you weaknesses. So we are now trading on, as of today, crude oil WTI is trading below $60 per barrel mark. Is this to indicate to you that despite what we're seeing in equities, in precious metal, but the real underlying economy is still pretty weak. And obviously, oil is also, is an oversupply issue that we're seeing, and also demand is generally very weak. So when you have oversupply, lack of demand, price will have to come down. So I think this Malaysia is a very resource-driven economy. So we have crude oil, we have oil palm, and with crude oil prices not going as high as we can, and therefore it's going to affect the revenue for the government. So obviously that also will create a waving down on the sentiment for the Malaysian market as well. So going to 2026, given that oil prices are still pretty low, depends on where we close throughout this year, and going into forward next year, outlook for oil is still not going to be very good, and I think that's going to be pressuring the market. So these are one key factors to really look at if you're trading the market as a trader. It's worth to watch how oil performance is going to relate to the Malaysia context, because if you don't see high oil prices for the foreseeable future, then that's going to put a weight on the Malaysia market performance. So just to quickly talk a bit of what we're going to cover on the next on the webinar session. I think mainly is that a lot of people always look at FKLI is merely about technicals. It's actually not only technicals, but sometimes fundamentals also does relate why the market actually pushed to a certain level or certain technical levels. So I'm just going to uncover some of the key fundamental factors that actually affect the FKLI performance. Now, external market sentiment right now is taking a very big factor. First thing is that, regionally, we have a very strong performance. External markets like US, China, Europe, they're also doing very well. So all this will probably have a spillover effect towards the Malaysia context. Now, having said that, despite external markets, internal markets factors are still very relevant, especially if you talk about internal domestic politics, like with the ongoing Sabah election. All this will also generate internal uncertainty and therefore create a lot of pressure for the market as well. So despite all this, I think it's important for us to assess what are the factors that's important for us to relate and important for us to measure and engage whenever we look at the Malaysia market performance. And last but not least, I think it's important if you're new to FKLI market, if you're thinking to try to trade the market, it's important to have a plan on how you want to do it. So in this webinar, in an upcoming webinar session, I'll probably be talking about how you're going to create a simple trading plan to just navigate the FKY market. So keep in mind, it's important if you are new to the trading space, you must have a plan to trade. If you don't have a plan, it's always very dangerous to be in the market. So I just want to cover just a very brief snippet on just what I'm going to share next week on the 28th of October. Over to you, Casey.
Yeah, thanks, David. So, wow, that was such an insightful section. So, thank you, David, for the insights on trading the CI futures market. So, for those who are interested to know more, and you can join the live webinar on the same topic on Tuesday, October 28th, 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. Also, you can utilize the insights shared by David by gaining exposure to BMD markets with Philip Capital. So, for more information, you can visit our website at philip.com.my. So thank you all for tuning in, and thank you to David for your time. Yeah.
Sure. See you guys soon.